Hi guys, it's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and today is Friday, October 12th, and it's 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, there's a good chance that in roughly about 2 minutes, then it's going to slide over being October 13th. At least I am hoping that's what happens. Now, today has been a Q-free day, unless he posts in the next 2 minutes, but I think we're probably safe in assuming that it's going to be a Q-free day, but that does not mean that we are free from Q-related news, and that's what we're going to get into now. So the first thing we're going to touch on is this, and it's something that is near and dear to my heart. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, wait a minute, I thought you were a Christian. How can you be for cannabis reform? Well, let me tell you, I've got a spinal injury, and when I moved here, I was able to obtain legally medical marijuana. Now, we're not talking about smoking marijuana to get high. The medical marijuana you use has very, very, very low THC, and I use it in the oil form, and it is probably the best pain relief that you could ever imagine. Now, it does not make you high. It is not, medical marijuana is very different from recreational cannabis. And I also have it in a salve that I put on my back when, to up the level of control of the pain. Now, I have not taken, nor do I take anything other than that for pain. And that's why I'm for it, because this is so much better than opioids, which break down your body and actually make you sicker. So, I am all for cannabis. It has a lot of medical, afflictions. You're going to have to read up on it for yourself, because it would probably take an entire video to cover that, and probably several, because there's a lot to this, and I've studied it. And I do believe that it needs to be made available for medical use. It's been known to stop seizures. All sorts of things that it can help with. And I think that it has been demonized precisely because it does have so many healing properties. So, yes, I agree that it needs to be reformed. There needs to be reform. And what Trump is proposing is what I agree with. He proposes that it should be made legal on a federal level. So all this for medical use only. And then the individual states can decide from there whether or not they will allow recreational use. I don't care so much whether it's legalized for recreational use or not. I think that it's silly that the taxpayers' dollars are spent keeping people that have been smoking weed or selling weed in prison. I think that there are better uses for our prison and our tax dollars. Personally, that's just my opinion. But am I a cannabis smoker? No, I'm not. I do take the oil, and I have had phenomenal success. So this is what I feel. I believe that it should be made legal for medical use. Beyond that, I'm okay with whatever's decided. But for medical use, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where I stand with that. Now, I know that there'll be people that vehemently disagree with me, and do, but, speaking as someone that if cannabis was not available to me, I would have to be on painkillers, and that would be very detrimental to my health, I believe. The cannabis, I don't feel anything from it other than relief. I don't feel high from it. I don't feel whatever. And anyway, that's for you all to decide how you feel about that personally. But I'm just letting you know that it is on the table. And it was for a while. They were saying that anybody that worked in the cannabis industry in Canada would not be able to cross the border. I was a little bit concerned about this because, not that I work in the cannabis industry, but I do always carry a salve with me that I put on my back for immediate pain relief. It doesn't go into your bloodstream, so it doesn't make you high, but It does, there is significant relief from it, and I've worried about crossing the border because I'd have to be without that. So this is good news as far as I'm concerned, and that whole bit about not letting Canadians cross has been scrapped. So that's good news for me, anyway. Don't know how you guys feel, but anyway. This is a plant that the Lord put on the earth, and I do believe that the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nations. I do believe that there are plants and herbs and things that have been put on this earth for healing. That is what I believe. Anyway, now we're not talking about heroin that has from the poppy plant and is processed the same way really sugar is. That's not natural. So don't preach what I'm not preaching. That's I had a pastor that used to say that, and I thought it was a good saying, because you know how people will run off in their heads extrapolating and thinking that you're saying something that you're really not. So anyway, let's go on. Alrighty, here we go. Now, this is interesting. I don't care who you are. I do care who you are. Don't listen to me. Okay, now, co-founder of Steele dossier firm Fusion GPS refuses to testify before House Committee. Well, then can't they subpoena him? Glenn Simpson, co-founder of Fusion GPS, a research firm that commissioned the notorious anti-Trump Steele dossier while funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign money, has refused to testify before the House Judiciary Committee. In a scathing letter, usually strong-worded for legal communication, lawyers for Simpson argued the House Judiciary Committee is not seeking the truth, but is aiming to discredit and otherwise damage witnesses to Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Oh my gosh, sometimes I just want to take my head and bang it against something really hard, because how do you get through to these people? Seriously. Like, really? Like, I just can't, am I deluded? Because I just don't picture my listeners as being stupid. But, honestly, if somebody, showed me a picture of some of my listeners wearing pussy hats, that would destroy me. Man, I just could not, I don't think I could do this. Sitting here and talking and thinking that I might actually be talking to people with pussy hats on. I couldn't do that. I'm just saying. I can't do that. So please, if I'm deluded, then please allow me to continue, because I don't know. I just, he's not going to testify because he thinks that they're not seeking the truth, but they want to discredit and otherwise damage witnesses to Russia's interference. Okay. All right then. That is probably, it's getting close to being one of the most ridiculous things I've read today. And I read a lot of ridiculous things every single day. All right. So this committee has repeatedly interviewed witnesses in secret only to selectively leak from the interviews to disparage those witnesses and promulgate a patently false narrative. Oh, and who is saying this? The subpoena issued to Simpson by the committee is thus only a smokescreen that will be used by the panel to further tarnish Simpson's reputation. What reputation? He doesn't have any reputation. He's lost his reputation. With selective leaks from a closed-door deposition, the letter claims. Those who have already suffered from the committee's actions, according to the letter, are former British spy and author of the notorious Trump dossier, Christopher Steele. And that's exactly what he is. He's an author that writes fiction. No, he really isn't an author, but he might as well be, because what he wrote is complete fiction. And former Associate Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr, well, there's another person I have zero respect for. Simpson, who was set to testify on October 16th, was thereby invoking his First and Fifth Amendment rights and would not appear before the lawmakers, the letter said. Any attempt to shed light on the ties between Fusion GPS and the Obama officials at the FBI and the Department of Justice are no more than an effort to protect a president who has sought to placate and curry favor with a hostile foreign power, it continues. This man is completely delusional. He needs psychiatric help. Seriously, he knows full well that he's lying through his teeth. And if he doesn't, he's mentally ill. He needs medication or a deliverance. Either way, get it done. Proving a supposed connection between Trump and Russia has been the whole point of the Steele dossier. However, a protracted investigation has so far not produced any proof to back up the collusion claim while racking up a bill of over $17 million in taxpayers' money. Yes, that's right. I said $17 million. Trump and his Republican supporters, meanwhile, maintain that the dossier's entire premise is illegal, which it is. Funded by Clinton campaign, which it is. It was used by the FBI as grounds to spy on Trump campaign, which it was. The advisor, his Trump campaign advisor, Carter Page, which it was. The dossier includes some salacious allegations against Trump, which it does. And that's exactly all they are. Salacious allegations. Allegations don't have to be true. They're just alleged until they're proven, which they have not been. Including him hiring prostitutes in Moscow to urinate on the hotel bed Barack Obama had used. Do you believe that? Trump is a germaphobe. Now that much I know. And I'm just not thinking he's going to be urinating on a hotel bed that he's going to be sleeping in. I just don't think so. Trump ordered immediate declassification of all the documents related the FBI surveillance of his campaign in late September, but backed down on his decision after consulting with the DOJ. Trump said that the documents would still be published upon a review by the department's inspector general, noting that he would declassify them at any minute. The materials, hey, if you're going to declassify them at any minute, why not this minute? I'm just saying. The materials would also have included the FBI interviews with Bruce Orr, whose wife used to work for Fusion GPS, and the FISA warrant applications to spy on Page. Simpson's refusal to testify drew anger from the Republicans and everybody else, probably. Well, except for the Democrats, because, of course, they believe this poppycock. They're just walking around in their pussy hats going, huh? What? Huh? Anyway. Rod Rosenstein doesn't show today. Now Fusion Glenn Simpson reportedly takes the fifth. At some point, we have to realize the problem has never been President Trump. The problem is the coordinated effort to undermine him and those who will stop at nothing to cover it up. And then this from Olivia Beavers. Breaking, there's a good Canadian name for you. Anyway, breaking, a lawyer for Simpson, co-founder of Fusion GPS, told the House Judiciary Chair on Thursday that his client will invoke his constitutional rights not to testify, defying a GOP subpoena seeking to compel him to give closed-door deposition. Oh, well, now he's invoking his constitutional rights, but he most certainly wasn't concerned about President Trump's constitutional rights to not be spied on. No, he didn't care about that. He didn't care about that at all. But he's sure worried about his own, isn't he? We're getting close when first Rosenstein is a no-show and now Glenn Simpson is taking the fifth. That's Representative Jim Jordan. And let me see. Down here from Sean Davis, Glenn Simpson pleads the fifth. What crimes does he not want to implicate himself in? And of course, we know that that is exactly what the issue is. So, let's go back and see what other news we can get into, because there's lots. All right, now this, let's take a look at. And here we are taking a look at it. Facebook engineer quits over company's mob-like attacks on anyone opposed to left-leaning ideology. Well, whoever this engineer is, good for them. A Facebook engineer announced his resignation Wednesday, decrying the company culture as one that operates on groupthink, uses appeasement as a PR strategy, and attacks conservative views. I'm leaving because I'm burnt out on Facebook, our strategy, our culture, and our product. Brian Aramich wrote in an in an internal message, rather, to company employees, adding that Facebook's PR strategy is appeasement, not morally earned pride and self-defense, according to Business Insider. I care too deeply about our role in supporting free expression and intellectual diversity to even wholeheartedly attempt the product stuff anymore, and that's how I know it's time to go, Aramich also wrote. Aramich will officially leave the company Friday, and I would say congratulations to him. His resignation comes after he wrote another internal memo in August calling the company out for mob-like attacks on anyone who doesn't ascribe to the political left's agenda. We are a political monoculture, quick to attack, often in mobs, anyone who presents a view that appears to be in opposition to left-leaning ideology, he wrote. The memo inspired the creation of an internal group, Facebookers for Political Diversity, where conservative employees discussed the company's political practices. Some Facebook employees have allegedly refused to work with others because of their political beliefs, a Business Insider reported. Facebook Chief Security Office Alex Stamos left the company in March over disagreements about how the company should deal with Russia disinformation spread through the social media outlet. Google has also had problems with its company culture, and you don't say. And U.S. employees have organized to propose new workplace policies expressing concern about internal bullying. Gee, I wonder how far they'll get with that. Not very far. I bet you those people will be fired because they will be called the troublemakers, and they'll be fired, and it won't be blamed on them being conservative. Of course, it will be blamed on them not being able to get along. Why can't we all just get along? Google engineer James Damore wrote an internal post in July 2017 criticizing the company's diversity efforts and calling it an ideological echo chamber. Google fired Damore in January 2018, after which Damore sued the company for discrimination. I bet you the fact that it doesn't say that anything about it, I bet you he won that lawsuit. Otherwise, I think it would say so. But maybe that's just me. All right, now let's go back, see what other trouble we can get into. Well, let's look at this. Speaking of Google, speak of the devil. The Good Censor leaked Google briefing admits abandonment of free speech for safety and civility. Okay, so they're saying that the left, that everybody leaning to the left will be, safety and civility. Is that it? I guess really it's pretty easy to be civil when there's nobody left to disagree with you, right? Yeah. They all think the same, so, some of them aren't necessary. So anyway, I'm just saying, really, iron sharpens iron. That's what the good book says. And you need that sometimes. That's why, I like it when people correct me on things. I like that. I want to be around people that challenge me to think. My gosh, really. I mean, I want to grow as a person, as a human being. So, yeah, of course, it's going to be very civil if they only have people that have one political bent. Very, very civil, won't it? Yes. Well, I hope that they enjoy their little civil space. An internal company briefing produced by Google and leaked exclusively to Breitbart News argues that due to a variety of factors, including the election of President Trump, the American tradition of free speech on the internet is no longer viable. That, according to Google. Yes, and where they became the, the judge and jury of us all, I don't know, but apparently that's what they are now. Despite leaked video footage showing top executives declaring their intention to ensure that the rise of Trump and the populist movement is just a blip in history, Google has repeatedly denied that the political bias of its employees filter into its products. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. But the 85-page briefing titled The Good Censor Oh my gosh. They think that they're the good censor. Why don't, I think we should all get together and just make Google a blip in history. How about that, Google? How about that? Who is it that pays your wages? Yes, that would be, well, I mean, it's the world, really, but I mean, taxpayer dollars certainly went into your creation, and you know that. So, there you are. So the 85-page briefing titled The Good Censor, which really is an oxymoron because there is no good censor, admitted that Google and other tech platforms now control the majority of online conversations and have undertaken a shift towards censorship. Oh, and that's a good thing, Google? That's a good thing in your books? Apparently. In response to unwelcome political events around the world. Well, then Google, they're just going to save us all, aren't they? Examples cited in the document include the 2016 election and the rise of Alternative for Deutschland, AfD, in Germany. Responding to the leak, an official Google source said the document should be considered internal research and not an official company position. You are so full of it, Google, and I know that you really think people are dumb enough to buy that. I know. You're used to just spitting out whatever and having people believe it. But you know something? People are waking up and starting to think for themselves, and I don't think that's going to go over too well with them. I'm just saying. Like maybe the pussy hat people, I don't know, but definitely not people like us. The briefing labels the ideal of unfettered free speech on the internet a utopian narrative that has been undermined by recent global events, as well as bad behavior on the part of users. Of course, they're all conservative users because the left, there's no such thing as bad behavior on their part. Whatever they do is sanctioned. Oh yes, it's sanctioned by Google. It is us conservatives that are always the cause of the bad behavior. It can be read in full below. They're not going to be happy till we're all wearing pussy hats. I'm just saying they're not. They want everyone wearing those stupid pink hats and staring at their computer screen. That's what they want. Yep. Anyway. It acknowledges that major tech platforms, including Google, Facebook, and Twitter, initially promised free speech to consumers. That's right. This free speech ideal was instilled in the DNA of Silicon Valley startups that now control the majority of our online conversations, says the document. And how is this not considered meddling in the U.S. elections? Please, somebody explain that to me. Anybody. Just, jump in. Explain. Really, I pick up things very quickly. Explain to me, because I'm missing something somewhere. Really, I'm missing something somewhere. I mean, isn't this meddling at its worst or best, I guess, depending on how you look at it? But I would say so, because you're only letting one half, well, not even one half, you're letting, let's just say half of the people have an opinion, and the other people you are not allowing to have opinion. So, yeah, how is that not meddling exactly? No, seriously. This free speech ideal was instilled in the DNA of the Silicon Valley startups that now control the majority of our online conversations, which I just read, and which I read again just for the heck of it. So there you go. The briefing argues that Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are caught between two incompatible positions: the unmediated marketplace of ideas versus well-ordered spaces for safety and civility. Well, here you go, Google. If we want well-ordered spaces for safety and civility, we'll create our own. But, that's kind of what we liked, the fact that it was just all of these opinions and everybody's ideas were equal and everybody kind of, could say their piece. Yeah. So anyway. But that's not what we have anymore. We are getting to be a little China. We really are. And you know something? I know people say, oh, I can't wait until Trump and these guys take over all these tech firms. Well, I don't want that either. I don't. I don't want the government to control it either. I want them to perhaps regulate it so that they are not allowed to censor huge portions of the population. But anyway, the first approach is described as a product of the American tradition, which prioritizes free speech for democracy, not civility. The second is described as a product of the European tradition, which favors dignity over liberty. Well, I favor liberty above all. So there you go. And civility over freedom. And thank you. I'll take my freedom over civility. Okay? Liberty and freedom for me. I don't know. I'm pretty sure my listeners would agree with that. I would be shocked if they didn't. The briefing claims that all tech platforms are now moving towards the European tradition. Well, isn't that special? Well, we're not European, and we are in America, and this nation has been built on bravery, and like everything that America stands for is in jeopardy here. Everything. So anyway. The briefing associates Google's new role as the guarantor of civility. Oh, goodness gracious. With the categories of editor and publisher, this is significant given that Google, YouTube, and other tech giants publicly claim they are not publishers, but rather neutral platforms. A categorization that grants them special legal immunities under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Elsewhere in the document, Google claims that Section 230 was designed to ensure they can remain neutral platforms for free expression. Right. Free expression, like, again, it's just like 1984, where it's doublespeak. What they're doing is they're removing all of the conservative people from these platforms. Okay. But then they're saying, okay, now we can have free expression. Well, sure you can, because everybody that's left agrees. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. One of the theories Google identifies for allegedly widespread public disillusionment with internet free speech is that it breeds conspiracy theories. The example Google uses, a 2016 from then candidate Donald Trump, alleging that Google search suppressed negative results about Hillary Clinton. It did. That's been proven. Where you been, Google? You were the one that did it. You were the one that designed it that way. Yeah. So anyway, not going to get into more of this. I'm just getting my blood pressure all worked up. Yeah. So interesting. Very, very interesting. It's on Breitbart, and it's a very good article. Very good article. There's lots here. And I would suggest that if you want to read more of this, that you do so. Yeah. But, take your blood pressure medicine if you're on it before you do. Now, let's go back and see what other trouble we can get into. Oh, well, here we go. Now, I am bringing this up for one reason and one reason only, because I do not like to give voice to the enemy. And I'm telling you, okay, Democratic witches to hex Justice Kavanaugh in occult ritual on Saturday. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is this. I know that a lot of my listeners are believers. I know that a lot aren't. Some of you aren't, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree and be civil because we're mature that way, right? So that's fine. But if you are a believer, please pray for Justice Kavanaugh tomorrow. Because one thing I know, and don't ask me how I know, I've been and seen a lot of things that I wished I had not. Places I wish I had not been, things I wish I had not seen, and experiences which I wish I hadn't had. One thing I know is this stuff is real and it does have power. Okay? And if you believe in God, you have to believe in, a form of evil. And that's what we're dealing with here. Pure evil. Why anyone would want to do that to another human being is beyond me. Okay, if you disagree with him, you can pray against maybe a decision that he's making or whatever, but trying to hex him in an occult ritual, I would just ask again, if you are a believer, please remember to pray for this man tomorrow, because there is power in this sort of thing. Now, if you don't believe that, that's fine. Again, we can agree to disagree, but I'm just saying, if you're a believer, you know exactly where I'm coming from, and I'm asking that you would pray for this man and his family tomorrow. Democrat witches and cult members will meet in Brooklyn on Saturday to hex Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The hex will also include all rapists and the patriarchy. Okay, Democrats don't even hide their evil anymore. And no, they don't. Witches plan to place a public hex on Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh through an occult ritual on October 20th in New York City. Okay, so it's not this Saturday night. It is, let me see, this is the 13th, so it is, that would be next Saturday night. So there you go. But please be praying for this man. In New York City, an event sponsored by Catlin Books, which describes itself as Brooklyn's premier occult bookshop and spiritual community space, the planned ritual has been advertised on Facebook, and may this ritual backfire on them in the name of Jesus. Please join us in a public hex on Brett Kavanaugh upon all rapists and the patriarchy at large, which emboldens, rewards, and protects them, reads the description for the event. Ritual to hex Brett Kavanaugh. We are embracing witchcraft's true roots as the magic of the poor, the downtrodden, and the disenfranchised, and its history as often the only weapon, the only means of extracting justice available to those of us who have been wronged by men just like him, reads the description. He will be the focal point, but by no means the only target, so bring your rage and all of your axes you've got to grind, states Catlin. Right. Can you imagine getting together with the sole purpose of wishing evil and casting hexes on people you don't like or agree with? Truly sad. Very, very sad. Anyway, now let's go on, because there's more. That's right. There's more. All right, let's do this one, and I'll leave that last one for last. Which makes sense, right? Leaving the last one for the last. Right. I thought so. I knew you'd agree. And you know why you agree? Because you're not sitting there wearing a pussy hat. You're not. Anyway, Facebook purges over 800 accounts with millions of followers. Prominent conservatives vanish. Yeah. Just in time for midterms, Facebook has removed 559 pages and 251 accounts they claim have been spreading misinformation and spam. Several of the pages, however, some with millions of followers, were pro-Trump conservatives, well, of course they were, who had spent years cultivating their followers. And does Facebook care? No, of course they don't. Are they meddling in our elections? Yes, they are. Facebook has unpublished our page. After 5 years of building fans, Facebook has officially unpublished our page, 3.1 million fans, so we can't post on it anymore. This is truly an outrage, and we are devastated. We will do anything we can to recover our page and fight back. And that is the Free Thought Project. And apparently Press for Truth has also been removed. Their page has been unpublished. Dan Dix, I've been memory hold from Facebook, 350K followers, poof, gone. There is a dangerous precedent being set here where big tech companies have appointed themselves as the gatekeepers of political thought and opinion. Retweet this if you care about free speech. Free dicks. I'm sorry, that's not even funny. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't laugh at that. I just wasn't expecting to see free dicks. Anyway, our Facebook page with over 2.1 million followers has been unpublished, along with over 800 other pages and accounts. The purge of alt media is upon us, and this is anti-media. Facebook claims that domestic actors have been creating fake pages and accounts to attract people with shocking political news, reports Bloomberg. The people behind the activity also post the same clickbait posts in dozens of Facebook groups, often hundreds of times in a short period, to drum up traffic for their websites, Facebook said in a Thursday blog post, and they often use their fake accounts to generate fake likes and shares. This artificially inflates engagement for their inauthentic pages and the posts they share, misleading people about their popularity and improving their ranking in newsfeed. Some pages Facebook removed had large followings of real and fake accounts. Nation in Distress, a conservative meme page, was followed by more than 3 million people, according to the Internet Archive, which stores historical versions of websites and other online content. Alrighty, and here's Craig Silverman. Facebook has removed 559 pages and 251 accounts in the U.S. that have consistently broken our rules against spam and coordinated inauthentic behavior. They include Nation in Distress, Reasonable People Unite, The Resistance, Reverb Press, Right Wing News, Snowflakes. That said, not all of the accounts with large followings were conservative. Reverb Press, for example, had over 700,000 followers and constantly attacked President Trump and Republicans who they referred as cheating scumbags. A third left-leaning page, Reasonable People Unite, posted a screenshot of a Twitter user who said, "Somewhere in America, a teenage girl is listening to her parents defend Brett Kavanaugh, and she is thinking to herself, if something like that happens to me, I have nowhere to go." And that, according to the Washington Post. Right. The digital nanny state strikes again. Yes, it does. And here's Jason Burmis. First, they came for Alex Jones. And now, at Facebook, has taken down Dan Dick's PFT, Press for Truth page. This is insanity. Dan has been one of the most inspirational and rational independent journalists of our era. Well, that doesn't matter to Facebook. What do they care? All right. Now, let's go back, because we can, to, here we go. Are you ready? Oh, yes, there was something else I wanted to show you. Was it here? Yes, it was here. Gosh darn it, it was so right here. Now, you've got to see this, okay? You've got to see this. Now, I just found this right before I recorded this video, so this is fresh. It doesn't get any more fresh. Now, I couldn't believe this, okay? This woman claims she was sexually assaulted by a 9-year-old at Brooklyn Deli. Surveillance video proves her wrong. She sticks to her story. Now, you're not going to believe this, and when you see her in the surveillance video, she's laying her chest on the counter, and her butt is right out there, sticking right out there. I mean, it's like she wanted to be touched, you know. And what happened was this boy's backpack brushed her as he walked by. Her butt was sticking out. I mean, and anyway, you're going to have to see this to believe it. You really are. So let me go back. And let me turn on the...
9-year-old black child was accused of become all too common, where a minor incident results in a white person calling the police on a black person. In this case, a 9-year-old black child was accused of sexually assaulting a white woman at a Brooklyn deli. Tonight, this viral story has been proven wrong.
No, I want the cops here right now.
A heated exchange erupts outside a Flatbush deli on Wednesday afternoon. A white woman who was purchasing something inside makes the claim that a young black child sexually assaulted her.
That's right, the son grabbed my...
It prompts her to call 911, all while the boy and his sister weep, attracting a crowd of bystanders shocked at what they are seeing.
Look at that.
Witnesses insist the boy simply walked by her, brushing her backside with his backpack.
Sexually assaulted by a child.
But the situation only escalates. The video is uploaded to Facebook, where it almost immediately goes viral. That woman, identified as Teresa Klein, is soon dubbed by the internet as Corner Store Caroline, just the latest moniker in a series of incidents where a white person calls the police on a black person. Jason Littlejohn took the video and posted it online.
How could he be sexually assaulted by a 9-year-old child who's walking by? He was so traumatized by the situation, he started crying. His sister started crying.
Surveillance video obtained by Pix 11 from inside the Sahara Deli appears to vindicate the young boy, clearly showing him walking by, rushing out to leave with...
Sorry, I kind of hang on here. I want you guys to see this. Now, to me, I think this woman staged this. I really do. And I think that this is all part of the narrative to get the blacks and whites fighting, because you know they want a race war. They do not want us united. So I think that because this is so ridiculous. Now, if this woman is truly that ignorant, then I don't know what to say. But I believe this was set up. Because, of course, you've got the store surveillance camera, and anyone would know that every convenience store has surveillance camera, so she knew that it would be on. But she was leaning over the counter, and to me, I believe this was set up, and she's probably being paid by someone, because it doesn't make sense. But let's go back here, okay?
Surveillance video obtained by Pix 11 from inside the Sahara Deli appears to vindicate the young boy, clearly showing him walking by, rushing out to leave with his family.
I was standing at the counter. I was sexually assaulted.
The woman at the center of the controversy is sticking to her account, speaking exclusively with Pix 11 outside her home, where she says she's been harassed after the video went viral.
I understand how it looks, but she escalated. And then I lost my temper at her, not at that child.
Accusing the boy's mother of threatening her in person and later in a voicemail. Klein made numerous accusations, even saying during the now viral altercation that it was the child's mother who claimed she was a police officer, despite the footage clearly showing otherwise.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm a cop.
All right, so if you're a cop, then you should have...
I did not say that.
I did not say that. This woman is, I mean, really, honestly, I think that they are doing this on purpose. I do. Because this is, I mean, obviously, this woman, if she's not being paid, then there's some form of mental illness there, because clearly anyone with their butt stuck out like that and somebody brushes by them does not claim they were sexually assaulted. And it's an insult to people that really have been sexually assaulted. If you want to read about real women being really assaulted, read about what's happening in England and in some of the places in Europe, and nothing's being done about it. Nothing at all. In fact, I just saw a video which was absolutely horrific about a woman now she was really being sexually assaulted in a store and was about to be raped. She pushed the man away and he set her on fire. And nobody came to her rescue for a long time. I don't know if that woman lived or not, but it was horrific. Now, if you want to talk about sexual assault, that is sexual assault. This is just made up whatever. I don't know what this person's problem is, but I hope, and perhaps I will tomorrow, I'd like to look into her story further and see who she really is. Anyway, let's go back, as I do have one more thing to cover, which is a very odd thing. Bodies of 11 babies found in ceiling of closed Detroit funeral home. Yes, that's right. State workers found remains of 11 bodies of babies in the ceiling of the closed Cantrell funeral home, according to Detroit police. Police say that the 9 of the 11 remains were found in cardboard boxes, in a cardboard box, as well as a small casket inside inside a lowered ceiling hidden away from the former funeral home on the east side. The Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs received an anonymous letter tipping them off where the bodies were hidden, leading to the search. The remains were of infants and stillborns, and some have been identified, according to Detective Brian Bowser, Detroit Police. A cadaver dog from Michigan State Police checked the rest of the building and did not find any more remains, police said. We have had to find out what happened and why it happened, Bowser said. The former funeral home located on Mac was closed in April for deplorable conditions that included decomposing and moldy bodies. That's right, I said decomposing and moldy bodies. That's right. Again, decomposing and moldy bodies. Yeah. The site is being converted to a community center. Now, this is what struck me as really off. This site contained decomposing and moldy bodies. Now, moldy bodies, like seriously, I've never seen those two words together before in my life. Moldy bodies. But they're converting it to a community center. Now, is that a community center that you'd want to go to? Didn't think so. The horrifying discovery came at 5:30 today. The Wayne County Medical Examiner will take custody of the remains. Now, perhaps instead of turning it into a community center, perhaps they could, I don't know, bulldoze it and make it a park. Something. I don't want to be inside. Like, if there has been decomposing and moldy bodies in there, I don't care how much they renovate, it's still in there. That mold juice. I don't know. I just wouldn't want to be in there. Just saying. Maybe that's me. Maybe I just don't want to be in a space that formerly contained decomposing and moldy bodies. But I don't know. Maybe I'm the strange one. Anyway, Raymond Cantrell took over the funeral home in 2017 and admits holding the preserved bodies and says it was his attempt to accommodate the community who couldn't yet pay for burial of their loved ones. That's right, just let them mold. Yeah, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. They can't pay, so I'm just going to let the body here stay here until the juices start to seep out of it and it starts to mold and decompose. And then maybe, miraculously, they'll come up with the money. Stay with Fox 2 for more on this developing story. I don't know. I don't think I want to know more about this developing story. The fact that they're turning it into a community center was just about the last straw for me. It's bad enough that there are 11 babies found in the ceiling of the funeral home. I mean, that just has all sorts of question marks popping off in my head. And then we go down to the decomposing and moldy bodies. Now, if that is not compatible with a community center. I'm just saying. Do you want your kids to go there? Hey, let's play over here where they found the moldy bodies. Yeah, I'm just saying. Bulldoze it and make it a park for the whole community. That's what I think should be done. That's my advice to these people that are turning it into a community center, because that's out there. I don't care who you are. It's out there. So that's it for the news for today. Sure, there's lots more. I could do 5 more videos. No, actually, I couldn't. But anyway, that will catch us up, and hopefully we'll hear from Q tomorrow. And that will be all the news we need. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate all you guys. If you want to subscribe, make sure you stay subscribed, because, well, funny things happen in the world of YouTube. And make sure you click the bell notification for to be notified. Well, that's why generally one would click the bell notification, is to be notified. I'm just saying. Anyway, you know what? You know what I said about it slipping over into the 13th? Well, it appears it's happened, because when I do this, look, it's October 13th. So funny how that happens. Anyway, you started you know, I started this video on the 12th and I finished on the 13th. How do you like that? How do you like me so far? Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to bed now and I should, because I'm getting a little punch drunk. So, that I am signing out. Yes, I am right now. Good night and God bless, and stay well and stay safe. How do I make it stop?